Hi guys, hope you're well. So it's Mateen here, back with another video on TENET Talks. We're filming a podcast. I'm here joined with a local lad like me, another aspiring videographer. Unfortunately, he's a Sony shooter, but I'm humbled to have him on board on TENET Talks, and I can't wait to show you his journey. Guys. Guys, we're here with Jesse.
Hello.
What are you saying, Jesse?
How are you?
You good?
Good.
Good man. Thanks for coming down and joining TENET Talks.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate that, and I know it's weird because me and yourself are normally behind the camera.
Yeah.
And now we're in front of the camera. The lights and the cameras are on us. We're like, what's going off here? You know, we're going out of our comfort zone. But I really appreciate you coming on board. And today we're just going to deep dive on your journey so far into the content creation, and we're going to find out more about you. And again, if you can share your journey as well as some tips and tricks for the viewers that are watching here, that'd be awesome. So yes, let's start off from scratch, Jesse, man. So tell us more about you and your business.
So I'm Jesse from Sheffield. I have a business called 1101 Productions, and we do like photo, video, live streaming and things like that. And sort of like doing mainly like corporate commercial sort of works. Now more in the event space, but hopefully, just building up the business. It's only 1 year old, so there's plenty of time to like learn and build it up. Nice. So yeah, see where it takes.
So you got to water that seed every day. You got to. It's your baby now.
It is.
So you got to raise it up and take care of it. Yeah. So let's talk about how you got into videography. So how did it all start?
I think so. I actually had a conversation last week with a friend of mine, and we were just talking like how I actually got into it. And I think it's mainly like inspired by like YouTubers. So I used to watch a lot of like vlogs, and mainly like Peter McKinnon, who's actually a photographer and a videographer, and he's actually done a lot of like amazing shoots and things like that. So things like that where they actually get to go traveling. Also like Casey Neistat, who's like an OG vlogger. I think he probably started the vlogging trend sort of thing on YouTube. So like people like that sort of inspired me to do it, and I actually like traveling as well. So it sort of like flowed in, and I started doing like a bit of like YouTube videos and things like that. And when it came to like uni options and things like that, I just decided I'll probably choose media, something related to media. And I chose media production for my course. It was quite broad, so it had, photo, video, web design, editing, VFX, loads of stuff, and ended up picking video as the main subject in my final year. So yeah, that's how I got into it. Nice.
I mean, how was your journey in the education system? Would you recommend it to someone that's watching this, like a youngster?
In terms of like education, I think I used to watch a lot of like editing tutorials and things like that on YouTube. So I had a good idea on the workflow and what things to do and how to edit and things like that. A lot of the uni course was quite basic, I would say. It was more for like a beginner sort of thing, where they actually teach you things on a camera, how to actually get the exposure or like the proper color and things like that. It did sort of like help me to fix it properly in place, but it wasn't a lot more than what I was already learning. I was like really interested in like editing and things like that. So I've always like watched and followed people who does editing or like production and things like that. But yeah, that was my uni journey. But it was a lot of fun because you meet a lot of people, and I think that was the biggest win. A lot of like friends and contacts. Also, because I just got into like video and photos and things like that, I didn't really have any equipment, but obviously from uni they would actually provide you equipment and things like that if you want, or if you want to hire a studio and facilities like that you probably have to pay a lot of money to get otherwise. and I think I utilised it pretty well.
That's good.
I was mainly like doing photo shoots and this and that in the uni studios, using their equipments to make random videos and taking pictures for my friends and small events and things like that. So it did really help.
Building your portfolio as well, yeah. That's amazing. I mean, I've come from a complete different side where my journey started. I did media studies in school, in GCSE, and it was really good where the video that I did, we created a short film in school, and the short film that I did got nominated as an assembly, so the whole school had to watch it. Yeah. So if anyone that went to school with me, they probably know. We created, The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen The Wizard of Oz. If you haven't seen The Wizard of Oz, get off this video. So we created The Wizard of Oz, and the biggest issue we had was, when the wizard was trying to make himself look scary, and he used a green screen, and with smokes and flames, and he's trying to scare away, the four, Dorothy and the Tin Man, the lion, and he's trying to scare him away. So we had to use a green screen, and we made it really snazzy and loads of sound effects, and it was awesome. And I got to experiment with green screen and more of a motion graphics and stuff like that with the flames and sound effects, SFX, and because we use iMovie. That was the first editing software I used, and it was awesome. And I did all the directions and the filming and everything, and because I had a little team, and back then I thought it was a joke and there weren't much in it. Yeah. And when I approached my parents and I said to them I wanted to do this at university, they were laughing at me. Yeah. And it's the Asian mentality, guys. If you're Asian, you understand. If I go to university and I'm telling my parents, Mum, I want to do, or Dad, I want to do photography, I want to do videography, they'll laugh at you saying, there's no money in it. Yeah. And literally that's what they said to me. There was no money in photography or videography. Yeah. Do something properly like engineering or become a doctor. Yeah. The typical. Yeah. So that's what I did. So I went to university. I didn't go to university. I took an apprenticeship route through engineering. But it was only in lockdown when this spark happened where I wanted to pick up a camera and start filming, and that was the beauty behind lockdown, because there was nothing to do. You were just sat at home. I think that was a stage where a lot of people actually got into creative fields as well. I think a lot of content, influencers and things like that sort of bloomed at that point, and everyone had free time. Everyone was just outside, can't do anything. So people just became more creative. I think. Shout out to Boris Johnson. If it wasn't for Boris Johnson, I wouldn't be here right now filming this podcast. But cool, man. So after your university journey, how did you transition after that?
So actually, before uni, one thing sort of cemented the creative journey thing was there was a course sort of thing for creative stuff. So if you wanted to go into film and things like that, it's called BFI, Film Academy. Nice. So British Film Industry, and they were hosting a session in Sheffield. I think it was a 6-week or 4-week course, and we basically just got introduced into filmmaking, proper filmmaking, and there were good experts that's actually done good films and things like that, and we got put into groups, and we had the opportunity to bring up a script and actually film the whole thing, bring in actors, do the filming. I mean, it was more like a fun project, and it's sort of I was oh, this is really fun. And we got to put it on the showroom in Sheffield. So they've displayed everyone's movies in the showroom.
Funny you mentioned that. I've been there. They do it every week or every month or something. Yeah.
They do a lot of student stuff and support creatives and things like that. So that was a really good opportunity. And I've actually done a few other courses or opportunities that actually came up there. They actually host a lot of funded things. So anyone looking into getting into the industry and things like that, maybe check it out. Yeah, it was really good. In terms of how I got into the workflow after uni, I think the main thing that really helped me was actually having a portfolio. So while I was at uni, I was doing all these like photo shoots and things like that. Obviously, most of them were unpaid. It was just, portfolio things. So I did my uni in Leicester in DMU, and they have a lot of like creative fields. So like modeling or like designers that does the garments and things like that. And so one thing that really helped me after uni was the portfolio that I got to build up while I was at uni. So I used to do a lot of like photo shoots with models and things like that in the uni studios, unpaid mainly, because there were the facilities. I was using the uni equipment and things like that. And yeah, that really helped me, because once I got out, it sort of helped me build the confidence into, talking to people, directing, editing the things, and, the workflow for like a professional sort of like shoots and things like that. And yeah, I was just using that sort of like portfolio to apply for jobs.
Nice.
But I think it was lockdown straight after I finished my uni, so I did waste a little bit of my time, but I was doing mainly like videos at home and things like that, or like content for like Instagram. Not much of YouTube. I actually stopped doing YouTube when I went to uni. I was mainly focused on like Instagram. But yeah, I started doing more like projects with other professionals. So I would go shadow like wedding photographers or videographers for like, cheap rates and things like that. But mainly to build the contacts and to build up my portfolio in like a wedding sort of side, because it was I think it was a season for a wedding. And yeah, that really boosted me, because I got a lot of contacts around like the UK for like people doing weddings, other companies, and that really sort of like opened up a lot of new opportunities. So when they needed people, they would actually give me a call. Do you want to come along, get some footage? They'll pay me, probably not the premium rate or the normal rate, but they would still pay me. So that was like my first step into a professional sort of setting. Right. And then after that, I actually got a job in Essex for a production company and started working there for like 3 years. And that really helped me build up my portfolio from like just a couple of weddings and model shoots and things like that to more like corporate commercial sort of things. And I actually realized, this is actually pretty fun and there's actually good money in there. So I was doing a lot of things to like better myself in different aspects. Nice. Because it was a small company. I got to work with clients directly, have more like communication and all the aspects of like production, and that sort of like build up the confidence really to step out at the end to start my own business.
Nice. I like that one.
Yeah.
I just want to touch upon one very important thing that you mentioned, is when you mentioned about working sometimes at a cheap rate or working for free to build up your portfolio. That's something that I feel as though a lot of creatives should do when they're first starting off, free to fee. So not only are you building up your portfolio, which is going to benefit you so much because you've got a leg to stand on. Because if you've got no content, how are you going to be charging X amount for filming? And if you've got nothing to stand for, not only that, if you've got the networking. So even before we were setting up, I was speaking to Jesse about a client. We were supposed to be filming the podcast tomorrow, but because a client has contacted me tomorrow, which is why we rescheduled. But long story short, the client that I'm filming for tomorrow was someone that I filmed for when I first started for free. And again, he was looking for a videographer, someone to do his video for him for a chauffeuring business. And at the time, I'd recently bought the drone and I needed to fly it out and test it out. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah. For me, it was just a few hours of my time, and I whipped something up for him, and he really enjoyed it. And he's contacted me recently, and he wants like an updated version, and he's got a new fleet in his car. Again, boils down to building that trust, building that portfolio with him. Then again, he's also recommended me, because he's a chauffeur, he's recommended me to clients for weddings. And building up that network. So again, my point to you guys that are watching is, sometimes getting your name out there is amazing, and you need to first be humble and, you know, like, get rid of that ego where, like, you know, because I bought a camera, that's it, I can start charging now. Sometimes you've got to, you know, learn the craft, be humble enough to sometimes work for a discounted rate or work for cheap, and have that leg to stand on, so that if anyone does, you know, ask you about a price, be like, okay, yo, this is my portfolio, this is what I filmed. That way, when they look at your work and they see how amazing you are, they'll hire you for it. And that's exactly what Jesse's done, and how he's done that is really good. And I just wanted to touch upon that to the viewers that are watching.
Yeah, I think like everyone starts somewhere, and yeah, you obviously need some sort of experience to start charging something. There were some shoots that I did for, you know, a small pay sort of thing, but, you know, maybe looking back at them, I would probably say they probably shouldn't have paid for that. But obviously, you know, they know that we're starting out and they're sort of like supporting. You would have that sort of clients every now and then who want to like support new like creatives, but obviously it's only a small amount who would actually do that. It's not going to be everyone. So if you sort of like get one or two like paid shoots and then you expect a payment in your head before you actually have any experience, you're probably going to be disappointed. You'll probably turn down a lot of like contacts and connections just because you got paid a couple of £100 here and there. But I would say just jump on any sort of like opportunities that come your way, because, you know, you never know. You'll probably get a couple of £100 shoots later down the line. But yeah.
Yeah, so again, it's just going back to how we were saying, free to fee, guys. So you got to sometimes bite the bullet, but then again, it'd be worth it in the long run. Again, it's just literally a 1 day's, maybe 2 days of work. Sometimes you got to change it to passion.
Yeah.
So if you're really passionate about being a content creator, being a videographer, photographer, chase it. But then again, money will come. But when you're starting off, guys, the money shouldn't be the first priority.
Yeah.
It should be building up that portfolio. But that's good, man.
Yeah.
Let's touch upon the video side. So, like, being in the commercial game, so how long were you working, in the business?
So I was working for about 3.5 years. I joined as a videographer, creative, and then got into the head of creative sort of thing by the end of it. But the commercial corporate sort of things, it was a small company, but the opportunities were huge. We were doing like videos for, like shopping centres and big like tractors and agriculture products. There's a lot of like, you know, car stuff, events. It was mainly events. I didn't really enjoy events that much back then because it was like, you know, all the same. After you done like couple of £100 like shoots, it's all the same, so you don't really enjoy it as much. But the corporate commercial ones were like really creative. You get to like come up with a storyboard, pitch it to the client, see what they like, and then, you know, sort of like improve it and then go and shoot. And it was more like creative. You can light things, there's no rush. The event space was more like run and gun sort of situation, but the other one was more like creative. So I really enjoyed that side of the production. Yeah.
Is that what you mainly did? So did you do any like sales training? Did you do any accounts or anything like that? Did you just, was it mainly just videography?
It was mainly videography when I started, but then it slowly went into, you know, you're handling the whole client. So it was a bit too much at the beginning because I was like, oh, I've never actually done this. But once let's say an inquiry comes in, then it's you sort of like handling the whole thing. They would do the pricing and things like that, but once the client's like confirmed, then they'll pass it to you, and then you'll have the email conversations or like a Zoom call or a in-person meeting with the client, see what they want, and then, you know, come up with ideas with them, and then plan the shoot, go and shoot.
Nice. I memean, so now you've like, so you finished uni, you've got this job, you've now had a taste of what it's like. So again, experience.
Yeah.
So you now know what it takes for handling a client and making sure what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Like, so you've done events, and again, you're not a big fan of it. Do you film in commercial? Because I know you dabble in weddings a bit. What do you prefer? What's your preference?
So the main preference would be commercial stuff. So ad sort of things. It's actually been on my list for quite a long time. It is really hard to get commercial clients. I mean, you could probably, if you have a really good portfolio and really good connections in that sort of like industry, but obviously I couldn't get any contacts from my job. So I'm sort of like trying to reach out to more people, offering different ideas or like pitching ideas. The problem with the commercial things is they would spend the money, but they need like ideas sent to them or put in their head. So you would be spending a lot of time initially hoping it would actually come around to you. But there might be better ways to do it, but this is how I do it at the moment. And a lot of that sort of works come from like word of mouth or from other works that I've done. So if someone sees it and their marketing team thinks, oh, let's actually do something similar, or we want to shoot a commercial video for service or business, then they'll get in touch.
Why do you like commercials? Like, what's?
It's a lot more creative. So you get to plan, shoot, edit, and then work along the client, and it's actually the feeling of from an idea all the way to an end result, and seeing it somewhere posted, or sometimes it goes on like TV ads or like billboards and things like that, and that's like a huge proud moment. Hopefully it goes on a billboard soon, but none of my videos actually been on a billboard. But that is the idea, like see it somewhere where it's like recognizable, and a lot of people are actually seeing it. A lot of them actually go on like YouTube ads and things like that.
So we've mentioned that. So from what you're saying as well, you're more of a shooter that plans and prepares for his shoots, whereas with weddings and events, it's literally documentary, so you're literally just documenting the whole day, and that's something that, again, we've got no control of, because lighting is an issue, because there's different environments, especially, tell a lie, you can set up the environment in the hall, but then when you go out, when you go in, every wedding is different, because every venue is different, so again, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what the client's like. Just by meeting them, they could be different on the wedding day because of stress. There's a lot of variables, whereas with commercial, you know what to expect. So you've planned it out, you're gonna go in there, you're filming it, and you're in control. Whereas in a wedding, you've got to be a problem solver, and it isn't for everyone, because a lot of people do, even myself sometimes, I don't like it when certain things don't go to plan. Like for example, timings in weddings, Asians are bad for it. That's why they invented watches. Like when the groom comes an hour late, what's that all about? Like, then like filming a wedding, then if a groom's an hour late, the wedding's going to be an hour later. So then you're not going home till like, if wedding's supposed to be finishing at 11 o'clock, you're finishing at 12 because of the groom. Just stuff like that. Like, whereas with the commercial, everything's to the T. Everything's planned properly, shadow boarded, and then you go in and you get it done, and you've got control of the lighting. And you most importantly is your cameras. Everything's in control. Whereas with wedding, it's just pick up the camera, run and going. Okay, I need you here. You run over there. You quickly adjust your settings. You're stressed on the day, and then you go back home and hopefully you have the right footage, or hopefully you press record.
Someone's recording as well.
Exactly. I've had it a few times. I'm guessing all those videographers, when you assume that you've pressed record, and then you're like,
I've actually had that situation once where I think I was doing a interview in events or something like that, and I thought I was recording. Actually, it was a conference, so I had my gimbal connected to a camera that was on a tripod. Accidentally pressed the record button on the gimbal, and it actually stopped recording, and it wasn't recording. I was like trying to figure out why my second camera wasn't recording. That was on the gimbal, and then I actually figured out, it's actually connected to the other one. It actually missed half of the whole event. So but luckily we had a few cameras running, so it didn't really matter. But Yeah.
We all have our funny moments in the industry. I mean, for another example is lens cap. So I'm there trying to film a wedding, and I was doing it freehand, bumping up my ISO, thinking, what's happening? Oh, this is my first time using the wedding, using the camera in the wedding, and because there's so much going off in your head, you don't realize sometimes the simplest things like your lens cap, and you're bumping up the ISO, and then you're like, what's going on here? Like,
camera's not working.
And then I turn around, like, my lens cap's on. Or worst thing is when a client asks for a photo or a video, you're there trying to take a photo, and it's just,
and you're like, I don't know what to do.
What's going on here? Oh, lens cap's not here. It happens to us all, guys. But it's just a beauty behind it. You make mistakes so that you can then learn from them, and then grow as a creative. So you mentioned your work, and then that transitioned over into your business now. So let's talk about the business 1101. Where did that originate from?
So I had the thought of working for myself from like uni moments, and when I was working at the job, I wanted to sort of like learn everything, and then when I get to a point where I understand everything, a bit of everything, or like at least where I can actually apply it myself, then I wanted to leave. So when I felt prepared, I thought, you know what, I'm actually, young, I want to do it now, risk it now. There wasn't a lot on the table. I'm not like committed to, mortgage or anything like that. So I was pretty free financially. So I just thought, you know what, let's take the leap, see what happens. And yeah, that's how I jumped off. My parents live in Sheffield, so that was a fallback or like a safe spot for me as well to test the waters. So yeah, that's how I got into the freelance or like self-employed situation. And yeah, like since I went off, a lot of people actually, friends, families, word of mouth, actually reached out, and the couple of months at the beginning was going super great. And yeah, then it was a bit of a break because it was like December, January sort of time. But then it sort of like picked up, and it was a good steady stream whole last year.
It's funny you mention that as well, because being a business owner, it's never seeing a straight line on the chart. It's like a roller coaster. Like you're seeing the chart go up and down, especially as a business owner. People don't expect that. So like when they expect them to be, when they're going full time is work all the time. But then again, it's very unexpected. Sometimes it can be quiet, sometimes it can be busy. But you've got to find opportunities, and you've got to find ways of getting working. It's not easy being a business owner because you're wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
You're wearing the hat of the director. You're wearing the accounts. You're wearing the hat of the, inquiries, sales, equipment. So like whether you're geared for the equipment or not, it's difficult, man.
Yeah.
And especially doing it on your own, man. Hats off to you, and you're doing it for a year. That's awesome. And again, your network is your net worth. So if your network is great, and like you mentioned, you have a few friends in the industry besides myself. You have a few friends in the industry that can also help you, and if you need any equipment, you've got that there for you. Or if you need a hand on the day, you've got that there for you. And that's the importance behind it as well, because in this industry, you can't do it on your own. You need a team of killers. That's the way. Yeah. Well, you need a team of don't take that out of context, but you never know nowadays, isn't it, with this with these viewers. But you need a team of people that you can rely and trust on. That can go out there and film for you, and making sure that you've got everything. But okay, cool, man. So like you've got your business and everything set in motion. Where do you see yourself in the next? So you're 25 now, innit?
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself when you're 30?
Well, I wanna make sure the business is growing and it gets to a point where we can hire people. It's not registered yet, but I want to get it all registered, actually go through the proper channels, get it all sort of like professionally, get a team of people who works full time. Already, like this year, end of last year, we actually started working with other people. So a lot of shoots, I try and squeeze in one more person if possible, if there's budget, because it's actually really useful, because the other person would have different perspective to what you normally do. So the main reason why I did that was I started feeling like everything that I was shooting felt the same. It wasn't creative enough. and it all felt the same for like a lot of different clients. And I thought, you know what, I'll bring in another videographer as well on the job. And when he actually came in, he had different ideas and like different editing ideas as well. So that was really helpful, and I sort of like adopted different ideas and creative like perspectives from different people. Even like I'm not really good at photography, I mainly only do like video. So I also bring in a photographer if it's a photo and video instead of doing both by myself. And those things actually like bump up your like production quality, because there's another person that can help you with lighting or framing. They can check, oh, the white balance is a bit off, let's fix that. Or like check audio, and there's an extra pair of hands. And when you are working with a client, it feels more professional, and they feel like, oh, this is like worth the money, and they book you again. So we actually got a retainer for a clinic in London, and the shoot I actually had a videographer from London who's a friend of mine, and we both went in. The client actually loved it, and we got a few other jobs from them straight after that shoot, and that was like really amazing. Normally I would just go in by myself, do the photo and video, it's a full day shoot, but this was actually less stressful. And yeah, it was, I've started like telling clients, like, you know, if it's a photo and video, it's 2 people. The other one, you probably would be losing a bit of quality. It's going to be more rushed, and people prefer less stress and things like that when it's production.
I get you, man. Yeah. Again, you're trying to reduce the stress of the client, because as a content creator, you're a problem solver. You need to solve their problem of getting the business out, and you don't want to cause more stress on the day as well. Having another pair of hands, like you're saying, it saves time, it saves effort. So then that way, once the videos and the photos have been done quicker, the quality is still there, even better. Like you're saying, the client can then just crack on with his work. And in the clinic industry, we know how busy they are. Like I did one a year ago now, a dentist, and I had to come in on. He had to sacrifice his lunch because he had bookings throughout the whole day. And again, time sometimes in certain jobs is the biggest factor you need to look out for. And if you've got another pair of hands, even like for me, the way I see it is, I've taken on like my nephew. He's an apprentice of mine, and I'm showing him the ropes. And I'm not going to name anyone, but there's someone who I worked with recently. He's a photographer. We did an event. I hired him as a freelance. My nephew he's been in the industry for like 10-15 years, but he's bought a new camera recently, so I don't know if he's had much experience with it. So he was there taking photos with this camera, and my nephew, no word of a lie, my nephew was doing better than him. Like the thing is, with the guy being a freelancer, I feel as though he's lost his passion. Yeah, he was just taking photos. Like there was no emotions on his face. So my nephew, he was running everywhere, left, right, all around the venue, taking photos, and he didn't miss. Whereas with him, he would just stood there in one place. Like, he didn't even have a smile on his face. He was like he was on autopilot, you know, like he's stuck in traffic. He just like, you know, like how you see a tourist in tourist attraction. Yeah, just there taking. There was no like passion with him, and apparently his photos were good. Don't get me wrong, the freelancers' photos were good, but my nephew like topped him in terms of variation, like different various photos, candid shots of the guests. He had all of that, whereas he was just doing just standard shots. Like, I would expect more from him rather than my nephew, but my nephew's being there from a different perspective with a bit more passion and enthusiasm. And yeah, man, like that's just one example. Then again, it is.
You know that is really true, because once you start doing like the same thing again and again, and if it starts feeling the same, and you're not actually, you know, I sometimes do like creative projects as a personal project sort of thing. So like make a video of a product, and I try and bring in, you know, other creatives locally based to come and help me, and we all use it as a portfolio. And it's like a fun day, buy some food, get some really cool shots, and everyone's gonna do their input, different ideas. There's no right and wrong at that stage. You're just doing it for fun, and those sort of things actually break up the pattern of going to a shoot, shooting, coming back. If it gets a bit repetitive, then you're probably gonna lose that spark
the mojo. You lose that mojo, and that's it. And then you start degrading. I hit that year before, and it wasn't good. We refer to it as called hitting the wall. You just hit the wall, a brick wall, and you feel as though what am I doing? I'm just on autopilot. You've got to change up. After that, that's why I thought, okay, I took 2 steps back, and I was like, let me do something different. Let me start YouTubing. Because I was just filming weddings, and again, weddings are roughly the same. So every wedding's different, but they're roughly the same. You're just filming the bride and groom getting married, and it's repetitive, like you're saying. You need to sometimes change it up. For me, again, taking on a personal passion project is amazing. For me, YouTube is my passion project for 2026, and it's just something I want to grow, build a platform like we have TENET Talks here, as well as showcasing my weddings and dabbling a bit into commercial. For me, my end game as well is it's everyone's end game in the creative industry to go full time, to have their own business, but then no one wants to put in the work. No one wants to wear all the hats. It's not easy. Many people have come and go. Even when I've been in the industry now 4 years, and I've seen people come and go. They've been here for a year or two, showed some great great ambition, showed some great projects, but then it's all about the last man standing, and you've got to show up every day. It's not necessarily being creative all the time, it's being consistent in your craft. But nice, thanks for touching up on that. Let's talk about now in terms of gear, because I know it's a bit of a shady topic for a lot of creators nowadays. I get a lot of questions. I don't know about you, but I get a lot of questions on Instagram.
Gear?
I'm a new videographer. I currently use my phone, but I want to buy a new camera, a beginner camera. What would you recommend?
I shoot Sony. I used to shoot Nikon, but I switched to Sony because apparently it's really good for video.
Apparently, I'm glad you said that.
So I went for an A7S III and an A7 IV, so I can do both photos and videos. But I think for a beginner camera, I'm not really familiar with any new techs. I think the Nikon SLR is really affordable. That just came out, but I would probably say any camera's fine, because it's not really the equipment that you use. It's mainly building up that experience. If you're shooting on your phone, that's absolutely fine. The new phones are all really good photos and videos, and there's a lot of creatives that actually use their phones for a lot of things. But if you want to take it a bit professionally, maybe get a camera that you can afford. Anything's fine. You can get a second-hand really good camera for a decent price and just play with it, do different projects. I wouldn't say go and buy this camera, but anything that would help you improve is good. Nice. And then once you sort of get your foot in the door, and when the equipment starts limiting you, then maybe do a bit of research and go into more detail on what sort of cameras to get. I think when I started off, in uni or in school, I was shooting on a point and shoot, and then I had a small mirrorless camera, and then I went and bought my Nikon. That was my first professional camera, and then I went into Sony. So it's like a journey, whatever fits your budget and whatever you need, then get that, start off, and slowly build it up to whatever you want at the end.
Nice. Do you have a dream camera, something that you see online that you're I want to buy?
I would probably say the next camera is probably going to be an FX6 or a
we mentioned this off camera as well.
It's
something that I want to get as well. FX6, I think awesome.
Yeah.
It has everything you need as a videographer. It's a dream. And not only that, it's Netflix approved. So if you do something really good, like a documentary or a film, you just send it off to Netflix, see if they approve it.
Yeah.
But then, because I'm so invested in Canon right now, so like I've got the Canon R3 and the Canon R6 and the lenses as well. The glass, they're not cheap, because I've got the 50, 24 to 70, 15 to 35. I'm thinking about getting the 70 to 200, just so I've got the trio of lenses. Canon have released a C50. And you know what they're calling it?
What is it?
They're calling it the FX3 killer.
Is it?
Yeah, because apparently it does what an FX3 does, but it's so much better in various ways. Not only because it's the Canon, but the issues with the Canon C50 is that it doesn't have IBIS.
Yeah.
So image stabilization.
I actually saw a video of someone doing a review on a shoot of the C50, and I was like, oh, this is really good. The thing is, like, the Canon high-end ranges are like super good. There's a lot of people still using it for like documentaries and films and things like that, and you know, it's like really good cameras if you light things properly. I think when it comes to like really professional, like commercial shoots, lighting is probably the main thing, more than the camera that you use. And if you learn to do different lighting, especially for like interviews and like when you're lighting a product or when you're lighting a space, that really like ups the production quality. Then you can probably shoot that same thing on a phone, properly lit, would look really good. So
again, it's going back to what you said previously. It's not about the gear, it's about using it to the best of your capabilities. If you're using it with the correct lighting and the correct exposure, then again, your camera's doing bits. And 9 times out of 10, the client doesn't care what camera you have, whether it's a Sony, whether it's a Canon. As long as you've given them the content, that's what they want.
Yeah.
They don't care if you can rock up with get like a barn door on your camera, make it look good with these special NDs. But the content, if the content's rubbish, then they ain't gonna hire you again. It's all about the end result, and that's the most important thing. Same with qualifications. Like, people ask me all the time, because I have no qualifications in videography, they're like, what, like you should go back into university and get your qualifications. And I'm saying, this is what I say to them. I say to them, not once has a bride or groom asked me what qualifications I have before they book me for the wedding. They want to see my portfolio, they want to see what I can produce. And that's what it boils down to. It boils down to what I can do for them, not what I've done in terms of the piece of paper. Again, qualifications vary in terms of what you do. If you're a doctor, then fair dues, you need some sort of certification to prove that you can do it. But with the videography, it's what you can produce and what you can show.
Even when I applied for that job, my first job, they never really asked for qualifications. It was purely based on portfolio and the interview that we had. And I don't really think my certificate's actually been out of its envelope. It is still there, but I've never actually had to use it to get a job or get a project.
So once you've filmed a project, let's talk about post-production. What editing suite do you use?
So I used to use Premiere Pro or the Adobe suite, so After Effects, Premiere Pro, but once I went self-employed, I switched to DaVinci Resolve because it's a learning curve, but it's really good for workflow. I mean, it's a much quicker workflow, I would probably say, than using Premiere Pro, but still it depends on what you're comfortable with. One main aspect of switching was the financial sort of side. It's a one-off payment, and I wasn't burning through money when I don't actually have a project or work.
How much is it?
I think it was $250, somewhere around that.
About $300 if you're American. $300, that's not bad. One-off payment?
Yeah, one-off.
Whereas you're not paying £60 a month.
Also, the thing was, I wasn't using Photoshop all the time. So that was one of the, I wanted to get Photoshop as well, but I don't really use it that much. But if I do need it, I use something called Raw Therapy, or I actually have a account that I share with a friend who has Adobe. So we like if I use it that month, I'll probably like split the bill sort of thing. But yeah, that's what I do.
Canva's a good shout. Canva for someone that's getting started off in creating logos and designing certain things. Canva's awesome, especially the full version. But nowadays you've got AI as well.
Yeah,
like that plays massively in terms of like things what Photoshop can do. There's cheaper alternatives as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of editing, Premiere Pro is something I've always used. DaVinci I've used it on my mate's laptop. You've got like nodes and it's weird, man. When I look at it, I see what you mean by how simple it is, because you've got like a little banner at the bottom saying import, edit, effects,
all the different pages.
Yeah.
That I would probably say, if it was a project that came in and it was more like motion heavy or something like that, or like effects heavy, I would probably prefer Adobe, because I've used it from like when I started editing all the way through uni, at my work and everything like that. So like Premiere Pro, After Effects is like, I can just do it. I know where's everything, what to do to achieve something. DaVinci, I would still have to like go on YouTube or Google it and see, okay, how can I do this, and then figure it out. But I really enjoy doing that, like figuring things out, seeing how to achieve that sort of effect. It is a learning curve. It does take a bit of time, but it's pretty much the same, I'd say.
Nice. Okay, cool. So we're coming up towards the end of the podcast. Funnily enough, it's the beginning of 2026. What are your plans for 2026? Where do you see, what do you want to achieve in 2026 that you'd be grateful for? That you think, okay, it's been an eventful year.
I think 2026, I do want to grow the business to a really good level where it's got enough bookings. So one thing I struggled last year was not having bookings up front. So I would probably get a booking for next week or this Friday or something like that, and I would just accommodate it because I've got nothing else going on. But I do want to have that security. I want to have that security of having projects booked in before, maybe at least a month ago. So I haven't done any marketing for the business, so I want to do more marketing this year, hopefully get the bookings in for the whole year, and that would be really good, because then you can sort of helps your cash flow and things like that.
How would you market yourself?
Mainly social media, and I want to do a bit of SEO, but I'm thinking of redoing my website. So hopefully that happens this month. Once the website's sort of done, I want to do a proper SEO marketing side, as well as a bit of social media boosting.
Would you do talking heads? So you dabbled in it previously.
So I do want to do talking heads. I'm not that confident in front of a camera.
I'm building your confidence up right now.
I'm not even looking at the cameras. But yeah, I do want to do a bit of talking heads.
They call it UGC, user generated content.
Yeah,
UGC,
And also a lot of motion graphics, or posting things that would be interesting for different industries. So if it's a food, have a bunch of food stuff, edit together, have text overlays or voiceover, that sort of things, and also have offers and things like that on screen, or in the videos to sort of attract people or even get some leads. Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, cool, man. So have you got any final messages or anything that you'd want to say to the viewers that are watching this? Any last tips that you'd say to them before going?
What do you normally have?
It's something that the biggest tip you can give. You mentioned a few good points, but the last point you can give, or some off the top of your head, something short and sweet if you want, or
let's see, what can I do?
About having maybe a purpose, working towards a goal.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. I think one final tip would be, if you are looking to go into a creative field, make sure your go into networking, try and build up that contact and network and things like that. So it would, in the future, benefit you, because a lot of times people think, oh, I've just done my uni. I have a lot of friends from uni who just did their uni and came out partying and everything at uni, but no portfolio once they left. Only the courseworks and things like that they did at uni to show us portfolio, and they really struggled to find a job. I applied for my first job, got my first job. Maybe it was luck, but I was doing a lot of like freelance and experience-based things here and there to gain that sort of like confidence in the industry. So if you know, learning media or want to get into media, try and build up your portfolio, your network, go and speak to people. Like if you're not going to tell people that, you know, I want to do photos or like videos, they're not going to know.
Exactly.
So
word of mouth.
Yeah,
Massive.
you need to put your name out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, do that. Get your works in, portfolios in, and you know, build your business or like your personal brand in 2026.
Nice. I like that one. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good, Jesse, man. So where can we find you?
So you can find me on my Instagram on 1101 or 1101.
What does it mean? Before we go, just tell us.
So 1101 is, I'm religious, so it's a biblical reference for my name from the Bible.
Nice.
And yeah, that's how I got it. I was really struggling to find a name for my business, and it was just, you know, going over my head, and it was just, you know, trying to find a meaningful or like something that would be, you know, cool for a name, and just landed on it. So
when you first mentioned 1101, I thought you were born on the 11th of January. This guy's using his date of birth.
A lot of people, the only problem with the name is people say it differently. A lot of people say 1101 or 1101 and things like that. But yeah, maybe we'll fix that.
1101. Yeah, maybe introduce lettering into it.
Yeah,
1101. But no, it's a good start though, man. I mean, we met a few months ago, and just to end it off as well, we met a few months ago, and speaking to Jesse, it was, I won't say he's confused, but he left his full-time job literally then, and he reached out to me on social media, and when you reached out, you were wanting to pick up ideas and wanting to find out, okay, what do I need to do to progress? Because being on your own sometimes can be very scary, but then reaching out to certain friends and other people in the industry, they know your struggle, they know your pain, you can speak to them, they can advise you on certain things, and that way you've got more of an insight on what to do next. You'll feel more comfortable moving on to the next step.
Yeah.
Whereas being stuck in a corner, it can be quite drooling and scary. There won't be any progression, you know. So then again, reaching out and talking to people is amazing, and that's what you should do, network, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, 1101.
Instagram,
LinkedIn.
Or my website, 1101.
You're not on TikTok or anything like that?
No.
You're not planning?
Maybe I'll get into it.
You heard it here first, guys.
I mean, yeah, hopefully.
Nice. And then the plan is as well, guys, also, is maybe in 5 years' time, if we're still here, we'll do another podcast and we'll see if Jesse's actually
grown
and actually a man of his word.
Yeah.
We'll see that one. But
see in 5 years.
I've enjoyed this conversation, man. It's been awesome. Yeah. Thanks for coming on board.
All right, and, cheers. Thank you for having me.
Make sure you like,
subscribe,
and share it out to a friend, guys. Thank you for watching. Take care.
Cheers.
Smart. Thank you, bro. That was good, man.
Hopefully that was good.
Hey, nah.
Usable stuff.
It will be, man. Don't worry.